We're good.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Gambling Laboratory segment brought to you by Bogey Proof. Myself, Matt, Paul, and TJ coming to you guys live tonight of Major Championship Week PGA at Kiawah Island Golf Course down in South Carolina, right?
Yep.
So we got a big week here, a lot of stuff to dive into. But before we do that, let's quickly run through what we're sipping on here, and then let's get into recapping the Byron Nelson real quick. TJ, what are you bringing to us tonight?
We got a little Dogfish canned cocktail. We got the vodka soda with the blueberry shrub. Awesome for the golf course. Often my number one drink on this segment. So, cheers, boys.
It was one of the cleaner cracks I've heard in quite some time.
I was
really trying to work on that too.
That was impressive.
I gave it an emphasis on that.
That was a lot of practice right there.
Yeah, Paul. I want to follow. I know.
I'm working on some Corona Lights this week. Just still working on the Cinco de Mayo booze. Slowly but surely getting through it. Yep. How about you, Matt?
I'm going bourbon. A little Four Roses small batch. I think Bogey Proof basically sponsors them by now, which I'd like that to go the other way at some point. But seems like at least once every other week, somebody on the pod or on this segment's got a little Four Roses small batch going. Can't not talk about Tiger Woods looking over my shoulder today, hoping he gives me some good vibes and good picks to make up for some pretty average picks out of me last week. Cam Champ barely made the cut and was nowhere close to top 10. So I end up on that one, not my bet. And from there, I think we'll get to DJ, who's got something he wants to say.
Vegas!
Jonathan Vegas from the clouds.
If you guys didn't see that Jonathan Vegas shot, what was it? 18 under, tied 9. I told you, dark horse of the week. I wasn't too confident, but when I got a feeling. Jonathan Vegas. Now, I can't say he's going to shoot well this week. Sorry, Jonathan. 1 week and you're done for me, but thanks for helping me cash. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love that. Jonathan Vegas.
Jonathan!
Wow.
I mean, between that, Ollie had a couple good ones. Our guy Vincent Whaley, an absolute
Dude, I mean, just looking at his scores, like he could have won the thing if he just scrapped together a good decent round on Saturday.
He's playing this weekend, right?
I don't think he is.
No,
he's not top 100 in the world.
No way he gets into this thing.
He's played like 7 tournaments.
I'm heartbroken because I feel like he should be just based on.
He played in the Corn Ferry.
He's done.
It's probably Corn Ferry or alternate field event. What's the alternate field event this week?
I don't think there is one.
They don't do one for PGA?
Oh, I think they don't do one for the PGA. Only the WGCs, really.
True.
Yeah, Vincent Whaley's 353 in the world.
He's a fucking horse. All right, I don't want that slander on my guy. And before we get into more high level Byron Nelson stuff, Jordan Spieth, first round leader with authority.
I know since he did finish tied for the lead, the profits were a little diminished with the tie and splitting and all that stuff, so you didn't get the full value of it. But yeah, what a roller coaster of a back 9 there. He went out in 6 under, I think. He's 5-6 under, so it's like, okay, he might be able to easily get past that 10 under mark, and then he scuffles a little bit on 16, 17, almost holes out from a bunker to get to 10, and 18's playing as a par 4 basically, and he rolls in, what was it, a 55-footer or something for eagle on 18, and oh my gosh.
For our listeners out there, if you haven't looked at the whole 18th hole in general, how he put that together, that was unfucking believable. That was electric. And I wish I was watching that live because, like Paulie had first round Jordan as leader. If I was watching that instead of seeing it through ESPN and popping that up or seeing Paulie texting us, I would have gone absolutely berserk. That putt was unbelievable.
Unreal. And that right there, the way that all went down, that back nine, that bomb of a putt on the last hole. That's why we gamble, folks.
That's
That
why
run,
we
Roller
that run.
coaster.
I mean, Paul was
Gotta check
driving
us
down
out this
the
week.
trying to have a nice weekend, and we got a group FaceTime buzzing off at like 3:15 on a Friday. Like, we were buzzing.
I'm
after
trying
that
to be
putt.
responsible and not look at my phone, but I got Jordan playing the back nine, and on Shot Tracer there in the PGA Tour app, I see him. I'm trying to remember the holes correctly, what he did on Thursday, but I know he almost holed out for a bunker. He made a bogey early in the back, I think, and he wasn't making birdies down the stretch, and there was a lot of birdie holes in that stretch. I was like, he's done. And then an alert pops up on my phone as I'm just like listening to some other podcast that Jordan Spieth made a 3 on 18th hole. I'm like, holy shit, that gets up to 10. We tie the lead, baby. We're cashing a ticket.
Just like that. Unbelievable.
Idiot.
What an
Oh
idiot.
my gosh.
And it's just why we love gambling. I mean, we can quickly dive into a little bit more high-level recap of that week. I mean, scores are ridiculous. It was a birdie fest. I think one of the best things for me when it comes to my DFS lineup, is I think we talked about in our first episode how when you have courses that are so gettable like this, I picked all middle of the pack guys, and all of them made the cut. All of them shot like 15 under. No, I think my best finish, I had Sam Burns, so he was my top guy that came in second. But everybody else is kind of more middle of the pack, and early is in a price, I should say. And all of them made the cut. All of them just made a shit ton of birdies. And I think I won our internal little DFS thing we had going on. I forgot to check Sunday night, but I'm pretty sure I was winning that thing. And that just, I think Trev gave that advice, is when it's a easy course and it's just birdie fest, everybody's going to make a ton of birdies. So try and pick middle of the pack price guys and make sure all your guys make the cut. So they just keep adding on your birdie points throughout the weekend, even if you don't win. And then I got lucky with Sam Burns getting the second, which I think got me enough of the, finishing points.
I think you got lucky with Tony Merritt. Let's take a step back.
Tony Merritt was P9. Okay. Don't. There's nothing lucky about that. It was
P7 minus 19. Where the fuck from fucking left field that one came?
It's an easy course. He doesn't. It's like he was a good price. It was probably my last pick. It wasn't like I didn't go out of my way to get him. Let's just say that.
It's like your last pick. That's unbelievable. I'm just looking at my lineup. What I was trying to get accomplished from this week going into the PGA Championship, really wanted to get some type of guy who's building momentum, who's trending upwards. We often use that. Some guys that are playing well that will do well in the following tournament. I couldn't get any vibe this week. It was one of the tougher tournaments just because there were so many birdies, and it seemed like everybody was making a birdie, was making a putt, making a stuffing it really close. So how do you look at that and try to decipher what actually was good golf and what's going to be beneficial this week? One guy who stuck out that did well this week that really nobody talked about throughout Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Will Zalatoris snuck up there. 16 under was T20 or inside top 20.
Mm-hmm.
That snuck really quickly up there. Yeah. I think that's another guy that might be my only guy that overperformed or made me think, hey, maybe next week he does well again.
I think the biggest thing for him right now that he's trying to figure out is his putting. I watched because he was featured coverage or PGA Tour Live with Jordan, and I remember watching him and struck the shit out of the ball. He made the cut on the number, actually, I think, and then had a really good weekend. But he missed a lot of putts inside 15 feet where he was walking after it after he hit it because he pushed it, pulled it, whatever. Not like he hit a good putt and it just didn't go in. He knew the second he hit it, he was like, fuck. So I agree that him kind of figuring it out come the weekend is a good sign, because the biggest thing when it's like you said, everybody's making birdies everywhere, is you have to kind of know the player and be like, okay, are they kind of doing what they always do and it's just an easy course so they're making birdies, or did they get better at something this week that normally is a struggle point for them that they can kind of build off of and carry forward? I think of a guy like Rory, right? Rory He didn't play last week. His game's easy for me to talk about, I feel like, because it's just so well documented by everybody. When he's playing well, he's driving it like an absolute sicko. And his wedge game, he's got the distance control down, and his putting isn't horrendous. His putting never really gets great. It's just really, he hits everything else. His tee to green is just so much better than anybody else on the planet that as long as he doesn't get in his own way on the greens, he usually wins. Mm-hmm. When he won at Quail Hollow last week, the reason why I was, even though he didn't win by a landslide or anything crazy like that, like he's done in the past, the reason why I kind of love him winning like that is because he did it by his short iron game, which for him is like the last 3 years, he's still was driving it incredibly well, but he lost the distance control in his wedges, which is when you drive it as well as he does, you have a shit ton of those. And if you have no distance control with your wedges on the PGA Tour, you're just not going to make birdies. So for him to win at Quail Hollow, driving it mediocrely, like he hit some bombs out there, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he hit 10 fairways or 8 fairways or anything like that. He figured out his, 8, 9 iron down and was dialed in on the distance, even if it wasn't a dart. It was pin high, pin high, pin high, pin high all week. And I think that is like when I look at, how's their game doing versus what's like the actual result? Like, did they pick up on something that they can build off of and all of a sudden, like, watch out, they're trending, they're peaking, not just based on the final number, because like you said, 16 under this week was barely in the top 20. So it's like, you can't just be like, oh, he shot 6 under like 3 days in a row. Like he played awesome. It's like, given the course, it might not have been, but did like for back to your Zalatoris thing, like he putted awesome on the weekend and flew up that leaderboard. He always is going to strike the shit out of the ball based, or at least, right now, like with the form he's in, the ball striking is not an issue. If that putter gets hot, love him come major championship week because the ball striking is going to fit hit. It will travel anywhere. If he gets a little bit of confidence going with that putter, a little mojo, that's the kind of stuff that I look for, especially in those tournaments where it's like, okay, you got to shoot 63 2 of the days just to even have a chance. I try, and it makes it hard if you don't know a player that well. Like Rory, everybody knows Rory, so you know what to look for with him. It's always talked about on Golf Channel. Some guys you might not know their game as well, so it's kind of tough to call that out, but that's just my personal approach to when the tournaments get out of hand like that is all right, who's the guy that like, I know he stinks at this. How do you do it this week? Can you build off that? Like that's the kind of stuff you got to like try and nitpick, and it makes it a lot tougher unless you're an absolute golf junkie and you watch everybody every round.
Yeah. Let's transition over into this week, right? Now we got a major, we got PGA Championship. Paulie, tell us a little about what you look for in a PGA Championship in terms of if you're going to make the best bets, what's the first thing you're going to look at? How do you view the course? Like, tell us all that mindset, that process.
Well, I guess historically, if you're speaking, like the PGA is having like this identity crisis almost over the last few years. It used to always be the last major. They moved up into May. And while that was all going on, the Masters always used to be, you got to putt well at Augusta. That was the thing. Then next major, U.S. Open, where that was all about just mental fortitude and battling because it's an absolute grind at a U.S. Open. The British Open, all about dealing with elements, the wind, rain, weather, time of day, because they can play for so long over there. Then the PGA, it used to just be, you get the best players. It's besides the players, it's one of the hardest, strength of fields according to World Golf Rankings, and fairly kind of easier courses, but you'd play some not stereotypical like PGA Tour tracks. You'd play some special courses, but not like iconic courses like US Open courses. It ones that guys can just rip apart almost. And I feel like now the PGA is almost going through this identity crisis where they're trying to get it closer to par, like the US Open. You saw Bethpage, Bethpage should be a US Open course, and they're playing a PGA there. And now they're playing Kiawah. I know Kiawah has had PGAs before, and it's going to be interesting to watch this week because, like, I believe it is the longest major field or major course that's ever been played, and that's, to me, that's not a PGA championship. And with the weather and wind and all that stuff, this course is going to be playing silly long. It could be playing over 8,000 yards, including the wind, and it's tough. It's
I
weird.
totally agree with the whole identity crisis thing. Bethpage didn't fit. It's just not a PGA. To your point, I think the best part about the PGA is it's like they just roll the ball out and they say, all right, no bullshit. Let's see who's playing the best right now, right? It's
Yeah.
like we're not going to throw any ridiculous elements at you like you get over in Ireland. We're not going to absolutely brutalize you like we do with the U.S. Open, and we're not going to maybe display the course knowledge and the short game ability that Augusta takes to win there. It was more like no bullshit, 72 holes. Let's see how low you can go, basically. Like, let's see who's got the firepower without making doubles or whatever, which I kind of used to love about the PGA. Like, think about Belle Reve, right? Like, with Brooks holding off Tiger and all that stuff. Like, that was a absolute birdie bonanza because it was so soft out there, but that was awesome to watch. Like, super fun.
Like Harding Park,
awesome.
like that was a good one where the course is playable. I mean, I know that it was in May in San Francisco and it was during a pandemic, so so it was different. The PGA always used to be at spots. Yeah, the PGA always used to be. Yeah, but the PGA always used to be in these spots where it was like, 95 degrees with 110% humidity, and guys are like, Tiger's changing his shirt every 3 holes. It used to be in that kind of atmosphere. Like Valhalla, I think, had a few PGAs and a few of the other ones where it was just like, guys playing at the end of the summer, just sweating and just dealing with heat and making a shit ton of birdies.
While we're on the discussion of weather, let's go over what the weather's going to be like for this week. Starting on Thursday, it's actually going to be the coldest day at 77 degrees, and that's peak temperature. We got winds coming out of the east at 11 miles per hour. For those that don't know, this is Kiawah, South Carolina. It's the ocean course, ocean course. Right on the water. The course kind of goes a little east to west, west to east. So the wind's blowing east or from the east. It's blowing dead inland, and there's going to be a constant breeze. So on Thursday, 11 miles per hour. Friday, 12 miles per hour, 79 degrees, blowing from the same direction. Saturday, also blowing from the same direction at 9 miles per hour, 80 degrees. And then Sunday, winds switch where they go southwest. Could make it a little bit easier. Not too sure, but I think it's just going to be a challenging weekend. 84 degrees, should be phenomenal weather to watch the course. The course is going to be absolutely stunning. Wind will be a major factor. So with that, kind of break it down, guys. What are you thinking? If you want me to go first, I'll chime in and what my thought process is of the week, especially for DFS, right? I always focus on DFS. I'm thinking of lineups where you get guys who have done well. You need a combination of guys that have done well, guys who are trending, guys who do well in weather and wind, and who hit it far. Right? This is no joke. This is the furthest. This is the furthest course that these guys are going to play in a major championship. It's just ridiculous. So taking all those elements into account, and with the wind, it's going to be really interesting. I have a couple lineups we'll get down the road, but guys, talk to me a little bit more about what you guys think about this week.
Yeah. What did you get for miles an hour on Sunday when it switches?
13. So it's still up there.
So about the same wind, but totally different direction.
Totally different. Yeah. And because it's on the water, there's just a constant breeze.
Yeah.
There's no let up. There's nothing stopping it from the coast. Actually, Pete Dye, the guy who created the course, literally stated, I want you to play golf, and whenever you're playing on this course, you can look at the water and see it from any hole. Yeah. So put that in perspective. There's nothing stopping the wind. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
I think that's a key point, right? Because I know a lot of our, listeners and followers or whatever, they're New England based or at one point lived in New England, and they think, 10 miles an hour, it's nothing. It's like normal day, whatever. Yep. That's in New England. You got trees everywhere and you're inland, right? Like it's different when that, like you said, it's that constant breeze off the ocean. God forbid you get a little bit of a gust to jump that to 17 all of a sudden, and and you're on the coast, so there's water everywhere. And I mean, as you guys know, like playing golf in the wind, it's just an undefinable variable. Like obviously you can figure out which direction it's going and all this stuff, but to really nail it down to how much it's going to impact my shot is so difficult to do because unless you hit it, I mean, I guess they're pros, so they probably will, but unless you hit exactly what you're trying to hit, if you miss it at all, it just expedites and gets worse on like an a millionth scale, like to the a millionth power than what normally happens. I mean, you can if you're trying to like flight down an 8-iron for these pros, like say you're trying to hit an 8-iron 150 yards because it's into the wind, you're trying to knock it down a little bit. You catch that a touch heavy or a little steep, you get kind of top groove or something like that, where normal circumstances, no wind, nothing really happens. You probably still hit pretty close to the same number you're trying to get, maybe 2 to 3 yards different. It's probably going to be like 15 yards off now when you're dead into the wind because that extra spin, it just compounds on itself and it spins up in the air forever. And, it expedites those misses. I think given all that, like the biggest thing I'm looking for this week, obviously so I guess before we get into players, the PGA was held here in 2012. Rory McIlroy won by 8 shots, shot 13 under. Next closest was 5. It was his second of now 4 majors at the time, and he kind of did it in all aspects. He drove it ridiculously well. This was back when Rory's driving. Not only was it just like the prettiest to watch, but he was 30 yards farther than almost everybody.
Yeah, 22-year-old Rory was just he's different. He's absolutely different.
I think now, given all the new technology and everybody kind of chasing distance, that gap has kind of gotten a little bit closer for him. He's still top 5 driver of the ball on the planet. I think it's just between him and like the 20th guy is a lot closer now than it used to be. Just given all the different, technology, everybody's new mindset, younger guys, all that fun stuff. But he did it with that and then just like unreal distance control with the wedges and, able to make enough putts where he drove it in such different places than everybody else. He just had more room to, he was hitting shorter clubs in and had more room to miss given the different angles and all that stuff. So just a little background there. This also held the 1991 Ryder Cup, the War at the Shore, as it was called. If you want more on that, No Laying Up did an awesome deep dive podcast on that about a month ago. I want to say they came out with that. So definitely go give that a listen if you have time before Thursday, just to kind of build up the atmosphere for what you're kind of getting into it from a golf course perspective. They talked about how when Pete Dye was building it, when they were walking around the land thinking about holes, they all carried pistols on their hips because there's so many snakes and like alligators and like the marshland and shit. That like there's literally pictures of these guys walking around property with like pistols on their hips like it's the old west and they're like in a fucking shootout. Like it's pretty wild, this whole place. So we're in for a hell of a golf course this week, and like I don't know, I'm just looking forward to just kind of getting back to what a PGA should be. It's almost US Open British Open-esque where it's like a little linksy and windy, but I think it's definitely gearing a little bit away from the US Open, which it drifted to a little bit in the recent years, and getting back to what it should be. I don't know if you guys have more thoughts on the golf course before we want to get into lineups, but that's my like 2 cents on like the wind and all that kind of shit.
Yeah. No, I mean, 7,800 yards, if it's going into the wind too, this week, you got to hit it far. You got to be accurate. And I think even more so, you just got to be good around the greens. I think, right, the wind's going to be so crazy out there. And Fontaine, we played an unbelievable win this weekend. And just being an amateur, just average golfer going out there, wind sucks. And there's just no control on it if you lose it, like you were saying before. So some of these guys are going to be in some tough locations around the green. And you may not you may not make the green or hit the green, but like it's about how you bounce back, right? Are you gonna get back out of the wasteland or out of the bunkers or out of the rough? Are you gonna be able to get up and down for par? It's really gonna be scratching. I think being around the greens and being excellent is what's gonna win this course. Is gonna win on this course or win this championship. So look for that. That's something I'm looking for. I think you're going to see a lot of guys that come out here and play really well. I think your guys from Europe are going to have a slight advantage. Back in 2012, we had a lot of guys representing the European countries over there that came over and performed absolutely unbelievable. And I think we're going to see that again this year too. I think you're going to have some guys that do pretty well from the American side, but I really think that a lot of those guys are built for this. 99 out of the top 100 guys are playing in this tournament. This is going to be fun. With elements, with great views. I mean, we saw this back in 2012, but the cameras are way better. We got ESPN covering this thing from 7, 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 7 at night. Almost 12 hours of content and coverage for us.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want, and they have delivered. So taking everything into account, this is going to be a fun week. We'll dive into lineups a little later in the sack. I'll give you my take on the thought process behind that. But yeah, Paul, if you want to add anything about this week before we get into that, we'll let you hit the floor here.
No, I mean, I think you covered it all. I mean, again, like, the 7,800 yards, it stands out, but I think with the wind, it's just going to be down to iron play and, approaching the green. But I kind of hate that common thing you always see is that it's a ball striker's course. Well, what course isn't a ball striker's course? You got to hit the ball well to play well.
PGA Tour.
Yeah, so but I think iron play and approaches are going to be big here. Yeah, and just battling the wind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I think TJ, your point about short game, outside of obviously you have to putt well to win majors, right? You got to avoid 3 putts, avoid doubles, all that shit. I think because the wind's going to be such a factor, and like you're just working so hard trying to guess that every shot, that you're going to get it wrong every once in a while, and being able to still salvage a par or missing it on the right in the correct region is going to be huge. It's going to be, okay, yeah, I guess wrong on the wind there. I airmailed the green. I came up short. Can I bail myself out with a ridiculous chip or make a 12-footer for par or something along those lines? That you got to have it's honestly shaping out to be a little bit of a mix of like every major, I feel like, which is what the PGA should be, right? We got the win from the Open, short game shit from Augusta, and the distance of a U.S. Open without the ridiculous rough, which I think is good because it's more fun without that shit to watch. So I think it's going to have a lot of everything here. And I think that being said, I think it's picking players is going to be a little bit tough. So let's get into some lineups here, some guys, horses for the courses, people that, high up in the rankings that have no shot or you're kind of fading this week, and our unsung heroes of Jonathan Vegas and Whaley of the week. We got.
I got a couple this week. Let's start it a little bit different. Let's go with a guy that I'm fading, and I just want to say I faded Matsuyama last week. I mean, I said he would do all right. He'd make the cut, and he did.
He kind of came out firing and then fell off really quickly.
Yeah, he wasn't a top 20, which I wasn't too confident in him being a top 20. But this week, Rory McIlroy. And this is just pure feeling. Nothing, no stats are telling me that he's going to come out and do bad. I mean, he's trending in the right direction if you look at everything. But I just have a feeling Rory's first tournament after doing that well, I have a strong feeling this week that Rory comes out and duds it. I really do. He won the last time he played here in 2012. He's the number 1 in DFS at 11,500. If he's going to be number 1, and we say he's trending well, so he's got a new swing coach, been with him for over a month, is he the number 1 in DK value this week? I think he's overpriced in DK. I don't think he comes out and performs to the number 1 value or to the number 1 salary that he's worth. I'm staying away from this week. And now you guys can do what you want, but I'm going against all odds here. I was laughed at last week for Jonathan Vegas. And I realized that, Paul. I know you're kind of giving me this like steak guy over there, but
yeah,
I can't wait to hear what you say. But I'm personally staying away from Rory McIlroy.
I guess just from a DFS salary point, it's always tough to take the highest valued person in the contest, and Rory is that by a couple hundred. And there's a lot of guys, even at the 10,000 range, that looking almost at that's what makes the PGA so difficult is all the best players are playing in it. And
And
of the
that's
top
why
10 in the world, I can't pick a guy that's like, I don't think he has a shot this week. Like,
Mhm.
I just don't know.
I got to take. I think DJ's got no shot this week. I think
DJ
he's.
has no shot.
Okay.
I think as great as he's been the last year, the last 4 months have been bad.
He's
Like
been playing bad. Yeah.
miscut at the Masters. He's been DQing or WDing all over the place.
He hasn't
Like
played well
he's with
since like Riv, right?
right since Riviera, and he's withdrew like 4 times. Like I feel like there's a little
Yeah.
injury there that he's not disclosing yet, given like the time of year it is and all the majors and shit. He doesn't want to, put that negative energy out there or whatever it is. He's trying to play through it. I think something's off with him. I really think it's an injury because he WD'd from Byron Nelson last week. He WD'd from another tournament in Dallas earlier in the year, or not Dallas, but Texas earlier in the year. Like I think he literally has 4 WDs this season. Like
Yeah.
something's up. And granted, this one could have been because he was in Charlotte for the Hill and Head, and then they go to Texas and they come back and go to Kiawah. Like you're driving to you're going to Texas just to come back to the Carolinas. So that one might just be like, I want to just work on my game. I don't want to go to Texas and try and grind out whatever and do all the travel shit. But without knowing that, like his form, he missed a cut at the Masters after winning. Like something's a little off. I mean, to his standards, where especially given how high he's going to be in, value, right? Like he's going to be at the top of those, probably top 5 on any odds you're going to see. I can't, given those other guys that are up there, just given recent form, I just don't know if I'm ready to get back on there yet. I just think that my money could be spent better elsewhere this week. And granted, he's DJ. He could be totally fine and just decide to turn it on this week because he's one of those guys that you really never know because he doesn't tell you anything. Like he's doesn't tell you if he's struggling. He doesn't tell you if he's got it going on. He just kind of goes out and does it. And he seems to be the guy that flips a switch and then goes scorched earth for 6 months. And he could start that this week being back in the Carolinas where, I mean, he went to school at Coastal, so he's familiar with the area or whatever it is. But
Could be a home game.
Could be a home game. That I did not incorporate that in my model, but I'm not buying him right now. He's too expensive, man. I don't know.
It's tough, right? He's the number 1 golfer in the world. I mean, when Paul alludes to ball striking, right? It always comes down to ball striking, right? You just need to play good golf. And he's literally the number 1 player in the world. If there's going to be a golfer this weekend that like kind of stands out, just didn't think that was going to come out and do well.
Oh, yeah.
I think DJ's going to be surprised some people. I think I feel like he'll do well. I don't know if he'll necessarily be top 5.
This is my hot take. He could very easily win by 6 this weekend. And I'd be like, well, yeah, of course he won by 6. He's DJ. He's the best player in the world. He's all this stuff we're saying. I'm just saying, given how expensive he is going to be on all your odds, like I think your money's better spent elsewhere this week on those top 4 or 5 guys that are, 10K plus, 9,800 plus.
So DJ comes in this week at $10,900 in DFS, and then we have his odds at 1,500. Interesting enough,
it's like what 15 to 1, right?
Yeah.
It's just so much easier to say like 15 to 1 and stuff like that, right? I don't know.
Sorry, I read word for word.
No, you said it right.
Do that.
Those are American odds, baby.
This stuck out to me. So he's actually got the same odds of winning as Bryson and Xander. They're like a second tier. The first tier right now, all tied at 12 to 1 is Rory, John Rahm, JT, and Jordan Spieth. I feel like we can get to them in a second, but since we're on the discussion of DJ, between Bryson, DJ, and Schauffele, if they're all the same value here at 15 to 1, which one of you guys or which one of these guys are you picking? Fontaine, we'll start with you.
I love Xander out of that group.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just off form. I mean, Bryson looks a little off since Bay Hill, right? It was the one he won. The Masters, he didn't look good. He hasn't really looked good in between there. Obviously, he's always in the news with his antics of like last week sneaking out that top 20 or whatever it was after flying home and all that bullshit. But between his recent form, it doesn't seem like he's ready yet for a major. And same stuff I just talked with DJ. I'm not in love with their games right now. And Xander, just his major track record has been ridiculous. He's a ball striking machine. His game is so well rounded that there's no weakness there. It's just a matter of if he, if the putter cooperates and stays hot. He's one of those kind of things away from winning a lot when it comes to these majors. He's got, I might be butchering this, but I think it's 6 top 10s and 15 major starts in his career.
Something crazy like that.
The harder the golf is, the better he seems to play. And all the shit we talked about with the wind and this kind of wild golf course and kind of the wind switching directions on Saturday and Sunday, like at the end of the day, like we're saying, you just got to play good golf and you got to know where your ball's going. And I think he does that better than anybody else in major championship circumstances. I shouldn't say better than anybody else, but like out of those three, I'd go with him. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He's really good around the greens too. So
yeah,
I mean, Bryson, we're gonna have this discussion every single week, right? Is he gonna go around to a slap Johnson and drive it further than everybody and terrorize everybody, or is he gonna go to a really tough course that's 8,000 yards playing into the wind, like all this kind of crap? Is he going to go out and demolish it? Comes down to just driving accuracy with him. This guy, it's a roller coaster. I've seen him so far in the woods. His recovering is probably some of the best I've seen, but then there's also some of the worst I've seen. And he didn't do my projection of trending prior to the tournament, which gives me no reason to believe that he's going to actually come through in this tournament. I think he might be a dud this week. Dustin, it's hard to rule him out because he is number 1 in the world. But home game, he is very good. I'd pick Xander out of the group. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, out of that group, I hate to just all agree here, but I'm gonna have to go with Xander too.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy who I'm not about this week is Rombo. I'm not a big fan of John Rahm this week.
Really?
I don't know. He's just.
He's in his own head, I guess.
I don't think he's in great form right now. I know he played the month of around Masters, and a month before that he was hot. But I
think the kid's getting. I think he's got other priorities now. He's not as sharp as he wants to be.
Yeah.
I was all in on him. I was all. Well, Rory had a year to figure it out.
No, I'm thinking about this. So I made a terrible pick the other week, and I said Rahm and the things that are happening in his life, and I thought maybe he's got a kid, like Rory. He's got motivation. Rahm, same thing. Rahm's just more pissed off, man. You can really see he's not getting some sleep.
But he's always like that. It's tough because, I don't know. I just don't think right now. I don't think this is it for him because he's one of those guys that he, like you said, he's so animated and angry all the time that, if he gets the win wrong on a hole and makes a double, he'll be pissed about that for 6 holes. It feels like,
yeah.
I don't know if he has with all the bullshit that's going to go on this week, I think, which is, awesome for us. We love watching the carnage and the nonsense and all that shit. I don't know if he does well in those kind of things because it just you can hit good shots and get bad results, right? I don't think he likes that about golf sometimes. I think he's a very much if I hit a good shot, it better be a good shot, and he'll if he hits a bad one, he'll be okay with the bad ones too. It's just I think he gets really pissed off when he hits good shots and gets bad results. And I think that's just what you're going to have to be okay with. You're going to have to accept that this week. It's just what's going to happen, I think, a lot with the wind and everything else going on. But I think, TJ, what was that group that was all the favorites at plus 1,200?
We got Rory, John Rahm, JT, and Jordan Spieth all tied at 12-1 odds. I'll go first here out of the group. I said Rory is going to have a down week. I'm hesitant on John Rahm this week, although these England guys wind. They do well, but I think JT or Jordan it comes down to. I'm picking Jordan. I think Jordan's hot. Jordan's hot. I think Jordan's somewhere in the top 5 this week. He was really close in the Masters. He's putting his game together. You could see it too. It's materializing well. Jordan does better than those guys. I don't think any one of the top 7 are going to win. If that's a hot take to read about. But yeah, I don't think anybody of those guys are going to win this week. I think the course, the way it's playing, it's just It's going to be a challenge all throughout. It's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be crapshoot, absolute carnage. You don't know.
That's what I like. Paul, what do you like out of that group? Anybody?
Just Spieth, really, like the only one that really shines out to me. I mean, to win, Spieth. I think Rory will play well. I don't think Rahm will. I mean, I think JT will play well. He's just gotten so creative with all of his shots. Like he's been working on that low draw, stinger, smother.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
But he's been working that thing, and some of the holes that are into the wind, that could be a problem.
I think.
Yeah.
That's like my shot tracer when I try to overswing and it just goes way left, but he controls it somehow. Like,
he does it on ranch.
He does it on purpose.
Go take a piss, and both of you were taking a piss. Me and Prev were on the tee box. I go, Prev, watch this. I got to do the JT slinger here, and I slung it, but there was a wasteland to the left, and I put it like 20, 30 yards to the right. It was fantastic, but nah.
Yeah, I think. Oh yeah, that was on like 10. I remember that. I think out of those group, I honestly, I think I'm with you where Rahm is the only one I think really doesn't have much of a chance at all. I kind of want to go JT just because he's too good of a player to keep kind of laying these duds in majors.
Mm-hmm.
I think where like you want a Quail Hollow where it's firm, fast, and just ball striking paradise. Like I know again we said like ball striking, it matters everywhere because you just have to play good golf. But I think he has the creativity where he'll be able to hit a lot, and he's not just a ball striker where he hits the same shot every time. He hits a lot of different shots and he does them all very well. I think that'll go a long way here for him, and he's super solid around the greens. I think I love Jordan this week too, just because of his hot hand he has. But I think I'm going to go JT just to kind of pick somebody different and not match you guys on everything. These first two couple groupings here, I love JT just in his shot making ability. I think is what it comes down to, and just the quality of golfer he is. I mean, he's too good to keep kind of like fucking around in these majors, not getting in the mix. Like since Quail Hollow, which is 2017 PGA. He hasn't really been in contention in a major, and he's been a top 3 player in the world since then, I feel like. And it's just that doesn't really add up. He's won a bunch. I think he's won 14 times. So it's just something's got to give, I think, is what it comes down to. And I think this week he kind of I feel like why not? He's kind of untalked about. Maybe he's grinding, working on his stuff, and maybe he kind of gets his shit together and makes a good showing here. That's what I'm pulling for at least. Do you guys have anything like, I'm looking at some matchups here. Do we want to go to DFS first and then kind of get these random first rounds and matchups after the fact?
Let's do the DFS. For the listeners out there, let me give you my perspective on how I perceive majors. If you're gonna make one lineup, I guess try to spread the wealth. There's a couple different strategies. I don't do one lineup. I do multiple. I'll probably do 5 or 6 and then mix up the value, $5, $10. I did one of the $20 ones, but I'll mix it around a little bit. I like to do studs and duds where you get the top guys and low guys and balance it out. I like the Jonathan Vegas. You get the Vincent Whaley's like that. That for me is you find the guys, you creep up, and you go, oh, that guy's got the cuts that are doing well, the average score and daily fantasy that all matches up. That's a guy trending well. That's who I'm going to pick. Other guys, I'll go even keel strategy where I'll take 4 or 5 guys in the $8,000 range, which is about as average as it gets. I think this week it's like, or DK is like 8,300 in that area. So you kind of pick guys that are in the $7,000, $8,000 range. You kind of mix it up, hoping that you get quite a bit of those guys to pop, and they all make the cut. I mean, at the end of the day, you're not going to win any money or really make much money if you don't make the cut. So with that, I think this week, because it's just so tough, go the even keel route. I think you got to go with the guys, the 8,000s, maybe creep over 9,000 and go down to the 7,000. I think there's some really awesome value with DFS this week. I got a couple interesting lineups. I really like the $8,000, $9,000 range, Paul. I don't know about you, but I see a 9,100. I see Patrick Reed. I think that's a really good pick this week. You start trending down a little bit. I mean,
the only thing that scares me with him, the only thing that scares me with Patrick Reed is he's been known to hit some really weird tee shots. Like he doesn't hit it far at all, and they're very spinny tee shots. Where like he hits one of those into the wind, he's going to hit it 210 yards and have 230 in. And granted, he's not going to do. He might do that once when it's that bad, but like I feel like he's not. He's a good iron player, and he's an unbelievable short game where that always plays in majors. He scares me with like I don't know what he's going to do off the tee. I just don't know like how long. Like if he has a good week driving, then that's unbelievable value. That's just for me. That's like what that comes down to with him.
Because who's he playing with on Thursday and Friday though? Because I think he's got a sick pairing. I think he's got like Rahm and Rory.
Matchups, to be honest, pairings.
Rahm and Rory. It's a it's a Ryder Cup group here. Where I think Patty's got to come out and play well.
It's Patty, Rahm, and Fleet God.
Oh, and Fleet. So that is really interesting. And I kind of take that into account a little bit too. I think he's going to come out and he's got to perform against these guys. And this is a little sneak peek what it's going to be like when he moves down the line here.
The PGA and the USGA put together the best groupings for majors.
They
Thursday
do.
and Friday.
They don't try to play the political game. They're like, all right, let's put the guys that are going to be fun to watch together. Yeah. They just do.
Like that.
They don't try and level it out and do all this bullshit and like, oh, can't play favoritism. Like, no, put the guys together that are going to be fun to watch play together and like, let's just move on.
Like the 830 to 840, 833 off of 10, Rory Koepka, JT. Right behind him, Morikawa, Decky, Bryson.
And then on the other side, I think on the front, it's Hovland and Xander, I think, are playing together in one of those, right? Or close, maybe? It might be off.
The group before Rory, Koepka, and JT is Westwood, Xander, Hovland.
Okay, that's what it was.
There's just those three groups in a row that are like, easily. I want to watch it all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Got some great groups going. In terms of other guys this week, one guy who's really standing out, actually two guys that stand out to me. Cam Smith, a guy who's 8,900 in DFS, plays tough courses really well. He's trending. He's been playing some hot golf here recently. I don't know, I like his game. I really like it playing in the wind. I think this is a course that'll suit him quite well. Maybe minus the driving. He's not at the tops, but I think he can make that up. I think everybody's gap is pretty close here. So I think Cam Smith will do well. And then you guys can argue this pick, but I really like Justin Rose this week. I think there's just a lot of wasteland, a lot of bunkers that you're going to be hitting yourself into. If you catch a good score on one day, you're kind of floating up at the top. I think he's another good value at 8,100. And I'm going to go back to the point I said before. I don't think a guy in the top 7 of salaries or even your top 7 odds are going to win this week. I think it's going to be tough. It's going to be a crapshoot, and somebody down lower is going to win.
I like that. I think I'm pulling up one of my lineups here that I made already this week. I went a similar where I'm more middle. I don't have any $10,000 guys. I got Morikawa at 9,800, but
love Morikawa at 98. That was a good one.
Yeah. But I found some ones in here that honestly very surprised at the price on them. Like
really.
Like Victor Hovland's 9,300. I mean,
that's a great price.
Ridiculous. Sam Burns 1-2 his last 2 starts, 7,500.
Yeah, that's
7,500 for Sam Burns is ridiculous right now. He's playing the best golf on the planet the last 2 weeks. He was 1,700 through 2 rounds last week. So like you don't do that not striking it well. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's almost birdieing every single hole or every other hole for 2 rounds. Like that. And then my lower end guy that I don't think a lot of people have on the radar this week that I think is a good DFS, like kind of like top bottom thing, like you were saying here.
Yeah.
Robbie McIntyre. All right.
Okay.
Euro Tour guy, right? Knows what he's doing in the wind. I think he's out of Scotland.
I think so,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Sounds right.
Something over there. Knows what he's doing in the wind. Knows links golf. Not going to be thrown off by that a ton. Played well in the Masters in his first major, whatever, over here. Like, he's only 7,000. That's pretty bottom of the barrel from price range. I'm not saying he's going to be top 10 by any means, but I think he's a cheap guy you can get in your lineup to make the cut to free you up and get one of those higher end guys that you know are going to be in the mix. He's 2 top 10s and 10 starts on the tour, 9 cuts made. I just feel like the windier, the linksier the feel is, and like we saw in that 2012 leaderboard, I think 9 of the top 10 were Europeans. I just really think he's not that he's underpriced because he doesn't have a ton of starts to earn a price, but I don't know. I'm riding the Euro Tour and hoping that wind gets going and he just kind of floats along, makes a cut, give me a little top 30 action, and let my guy like Victor Hovland or Xander Schauffele go off at a little more price.
That's exactly what you need. By the way, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but we're gonna talk about him. Who the hell is Garrick Higo from the European Tour? 7,400, South African. Listen to this, guys. Austrian Open, tied 4, shot 8 under. The Gran Canaria Lopesan Open. Terrible with my pronunciations, but he was first, 25 under. Tied 8 at the Tenerife Open, mispronounced that, 16 under. And then the Canary Islands Championship came in first. This guy went tied 4th first, tied 8th first. 7,400. And this guy's winning on the European Tour. I mean, should I not look into that?
What did you say his price was?
7,400, and this guy is a winner. I mean,
you can't fake winning, right?
No,
I mean,
you can't fake winning. You can't fake value either.
I like it.
This guy is 7,400 and can make the cut, and like you said, sneak in. So you're Victor Hovland, or for me, like my Patty Reeds or
Jay Rose,
like some of those guys that my $8,000 price range.
I think a lot like. You find that's what it comes down to, right? You got to find the guys that are under 8,000 that are going to make the cut and keep getting you some points over the weekend. And I think that's a guy. I mean, has he played in a major before? Maybe that's the only thing I'd consider. Is any past major experience where
probably
a little nervous out there? But if he's winning, he's winning. He's playing well. I'd say that's a really good value at 7,400, just given the track record you're reading off to me.
I don't know if he's playing a professional event in the U.S.
He doesn't have a picture. He's under $8,000, so that tells you something.
Yeah,
the pictures are always sketchy.
At least in the OWGR, official World Golf Ranking site, he has not played in a professional event in the U.S. since 2019, and that was the last event recorded for him. The furthest back it goes. So I don't know what this guy's been doing out of South Africa. Maybe just putts around European Tour winning, but I don't know.
Interesting.
It's really interesting. I mean,
but that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. You got to find
these guys. We got to figure out who their cousins are dating. Like, we got to figure out the dirt on their lives, so that way we can pick them. And
can we talk about some just real quick? Like, he was T11 in some event called the Kit Kat Group Pro-Am.
What?
TJ, this is what you're bringing to the table. This guy finishes T11 at the Kit Kat Group Pro-Am. You kidding me?
Don't tell me this is Horsfield.
No, the strength of field was 7. It's somewhere in South Africa. Oh my gosh. This is what we're doing right now. The Kit Kat Group program. This is what we're talking about.
Well, who's the guy? Like, who is it though that played on the Kit Kat?
Your guy who you just said. I don't even know his name.
Oh, really? He played on the Kit Kat tour?
Oh my gosh! It was a Sunshine Tour.
Well, I'll tell you
Johannesburg.
I'll tell you what. I'm flagging them. I'm flagging them, and we're gonna see what happens.
I mean, he shot 27 under his last tournament on May 6th. I mean, going to be 2 weeks ago. How do you not pick a guy who shot 27 under?
Canary Islands, yeah. I mean, he won the thing. Sure.
Won the fucking thing.
Yeah. He won by 6 too. It wasn't like he just
no
squeaked it out. Kind of
But we got so many different picks this week, right?
Wire to wire.
We could sit here all day and talk about really good picks, but is there anyone that stands out to you that kind of resonates? Go ahead, Fontaine. Looks like you might.
I think there's a guy, and he doesn't actually stand out for me, and I think the way you're trying to go there, but we got to talk about Brooks Koepka.
Yeah.
What are we going to get out of Brooks this week?
What are we going to get out of him? Yeah.
Is he healthy? Because all this stuff we're talking about here makes it sound like not a U.S. Open, but a very, like, you got to be, mentally strong to just deal with the mental, not even like the difficulty and the frustration of it, but just having to really think through every shot because you got to incorporate that wind into everything you're doing. Even putting, if it gets gusty out there, like, it's just a grind, not in like U.S. Open style where it's just super hard, but where every shot needs your full attention. And he's just been known for being one of the best in the world at that for the last, when he was, won 4 out of 8 majors or 4 out of 10 majors, whatever it was, with the back-to-back U.S. Opens and PGAs respectively. Like, if he's healthy, the way this tournament is setting up sounds like it's up his alley. It sounds like it's kind of in the mix there where, he was top 5 in every major for 1 year there. So it's like they all kind of fit. But like, if he's healthy, I didn't love what I saw last week at the Byron or what.
But how much of that is his normal like pre-major? I'm just gonna go to Byron Nelson, walk around the course, make sure the knee's good to go.
Work on a couple
things.
It
wasn't
get me on the net
really
jet out of here.
He didn't look ultimately too great. I remember seeing a bunker shot on Friday, and it looked like he was struggling to really put any efforts into it. He's still bending over on the greens awkwardly.
Yeah.
However, the last week was a slap around Johnson. This week, it's a major. This is different, man. And it brings out the competitors. The guys that just the bulldogs, right? Like there's a difference. And listeners that are keying into this, there's a competitive nature that you get when you play a sport. And it really drives you, right? You can have some days where you don't have that competitive drive. You're playing somebody shitty or a shitty opponent. You don't get that. For whatever reason, there's some guys that when you got the toughest test in front of you, they perform the best. I'm not coming out and saying Brooks this week is going to be my lock of the week by any means. It's not going to be surprising, though, if he comes out and is competing at the top and finds a way to scratch and claw. I think that's what it's about right now. I think it's going to be so tough as it is, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I really think he comes out and does better than he had done the last couple of weeks. It's tough, though. The injury sucks.
I think after the comments he made after the Masters, which I don't know if you guys saw clips of this press conference that he had or whatever, where I forget what the reporter asked him. It was like, oh, how do what did you make out of this week? How disappointed? And he goes, how fucking disappointed do you think? Yeah, exactly. And so I think, he went into talking about all the hard work that he put in before the Masters just to play with his body and everything. Took time off, played the Byron Nelson, which again, he's done it before where he just plays these pre-major tournaments just to kind of, pseudo get a rep in, let's get some rust off, but maybe I'll purposely miss the cut. Body's feeling good, and let's get to Kiawah early on Saturday, Sunday, or whatever, and attack it then.
I'd say he's like the outlier that literally does that stuff. Like most guys, if you're going to tee it up, you're going to try to win. But he's been well documented even before he got hurt, being like, dude, I'm here to win majors.
I don't really care about the regular shit.
I'll make enough money
if
I don't win the other ones. Even if I top 20 the other ones, I'll make a career out of that if that's what it comes down to. But majors are what's I'm going to be remembered by, right? Like, so to your point, Paul, I think you can't put too much insight into his previous rounds other than just like, does he look healthy? I think that's just the thing, right? Because if he's healthy, the harder it is, the better he is. He's one of the mentally better players out there and like grinds it out. You don't win 2 U.S. Opens back to back on accident, and then both being totally opposite, right? Like Aaron Hills, he was 17 under, and then Shinnecock, he was +1. Like win, right? So it's like he's got it in any way possible. He knows how to play in majors, I think. And even last year, right? Played like shit last year because he was hurt going last year as well. Or when Morikawa won, still was 5th, 7th, whatever he finished there. Like he just knows how to play in majors, and I think again, I'm not gonna go out on a limb and say he's gonna win this week, but also come Saturday morning, if all of a sudden you see him top 5, I wouldn't be surprised.
If you put in multiple lineups, you got to toss him into one.
Yep, exactly.
If you're betting him to win this week,
40
he's
to 1.
45 to 1.
Yeah, I'd do it.
So, and
Probably will.
to kind of go off that injury prone, right? Like if you're injured, you're not going to really come out and play well. Some of the biggest competitors play pretty damn well when they're injured. They kind of push through the pain. Like I remember Tiger, the US Open versus Rocco 88.
Let's go Tiger 08 Open here. He won on a torn ACL.
Torn ACL. And just powered through that.
And
played the extra round. Like, unbelievable how he did that. But some of these guys are just wired different. I wonder if we're going to see that from Brooks this week. He's so good at playing majors and stepping up to the test. He is injured. Just don't be surprised if he sneaks up on you. That's all.
I agree. I think that's that like 45 to 1. I'll sprinkle something on that. I think just for my own sake of like, because I'm gonna want to root for him if he does play well Thursday, Friday. I'm gonna throw a little on that just so I have a little more than just like rooting interest on that. Just because I think I love just the way his mindset is about golf. I love the way he approaches it because it's just like a fuck you. I know what people care about here. It's like very similar to shout out Prev, couldn't join us tonight, but like Prev's like baseball approach of like one approach. I'm here to hit home runs, pays the bills. Brooks Koepka's like that in golf, right? He's like, I'm here to win majors. Nobody gives a shit about the other stuff. Like, yeah, I'll make money coming in 25th at whatever. I don't care. But when people look back at history at the best players in the world, they go and they count the majors. Like they don't. So I think, and I fucking love that. That's like talked about it last episode or maybe the first one, right? About Finau, right? Like complete polar opposite mindsets there, right? Like if your back's against the wall, who do I want taking that putt on at that 12-footer on the last hole? The guy with Brooks' mindset, that is like, fuck you, I'm here to win majors, or do you want the guy that's like, T3rd, I made a lot of money this week, you know? Like I think that's the difference, right? Like that's pretty where you draw the line in the sand.
Oh man, it's gonna be an interesting week. I mean, we're talking about a lot of different guys here, a lot of different value that you can go with. It is gonna be just really fun to see these guys go out and play a tough course. I mean, you're even looking at down at the lower end, right? Some of the guys that you might see value, right? I picked the Jonathan Vegas of last week. Can I find somebody low again that could to pop out?
I like
here. I think I got one. Where did he go? 6,800. There he is. Two guys at 6,800 though. I'll bring up real quick. Charles Schwartzel.
Love him.
We talked about how terrible he was last week. He comes out with T3. We'll go real quick.
Who said he was terrible?
Prev.
Okay.
Yeah, Prev thought he was terrible. Sorry, when he said terrible, I'm going to make sure we bring that up. Prev, he was not terrible. You are terrible. But anyways, since the Masters used tied 26, then tied 21 at the Valspar, tied 14 at Wells Fargo, and tied 3 at ATT Byron Nelson.
He played well at the Zurich too, right?
Yeah.
What was that?
He played well at the Zurich too, right?
Yeah.
But it's a team event.
So you look at all that kind of crap, man. Like he's for 6,800. I'm picking him. That's a value pick to say the least.
That right there is that's where your research pays off, right? Like people are gonna go through and be like, oh, I don't remember Charles Schwartzel since the 2012 Masters or whatever that he won, like whatever. Like you pay attention, you look into his recent starts, you just rattle them off. Everything's going better, and it started at T26 to T3. Like you got to hammer. Like at that rate.
I came out earlier in the segment and said it was really tough to read last week, but of what I got, there was a couple guys that stuck out. And this is one of the guys. I mean, I look at the lower valued guys.
See the putter he uses, the back shafted putter?
Yeah, I don't watch him play at all. I literally just go on ESPN and I literally look every day and I just see where guys climb, I choose not to watch him play. If I watch him on Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm choosing to I'm trying to not watch him, but I might have to watch him. It might be the case, but
yeah,
he might do well. He might do well.
I like that one. What's your other guy? Oh boy,
We talked about him last week.
Oh
He
boy,
was 7 of 7. Now he's 7 of 8.
Joakim?
Thomas Peters.
Oh,
6,800. Now, it was a bad pick last week. I think we were all like, oh, Thomas Peters, like Paul's guy. But let me tell you, 7 of 8, hits it decently well. Euro guy. May not be the sexy of picks this week, but let me tell you, I think there's something there. I think he's got a good enough ceiling where he makes the cut. Hey, he might surprise you, and there's just, I don't know. I said Rory earlier that I didn't think he was going to do well this week. They're just feelings that I have, and I can't really explain it more than that. And I just think Thomas Peters might have a pretty good week. Make the cut.
yeah. If it's just to make the cut, I think that's a fair one. Don't love it though. I mean, the problem with him is like at a course like last week that set up for him, being a longer hitter and all that stuff. To not be able to get it going out there is a little concerning. I mean, he missed it by 1. He didn't lay an egg, but I don't know. I can see at 6,800, there's value there for sure. It's just
It's just not the sexy pick, right? If you're talking DFS,
so much better, right? Same price guys, I think. But I mean, it's golf, right? We could be fucking all over the place here. You're not even close to right on any of these, but if I'm, being a betting man, like if I'm putting money down, I'm picking Charles Schwartz at 6,800 versus Peters at the same price, just given trends.
Yep.
If you're doing my studs and duds lineup, you might have to do the two.
Yeah, you might have to get both. That's fair. If you're picking, Rory, Rahm, Rory and Rahm, you're gonna have to offset it,
which I often do. It didn't work a couple weeks ago, but I'm not giving up. Can't give up. Actually, you know who stuck out to me today? I saw some content out there. Harry Higgs is eating a couple salads or two. You think he's gonna lose some fucking distance on that drive too?
His doctor put him on this crazy diet.
Crazy, huh?
Not to get all serious, but yeah, no, his doctor put him on this crazy diet to cut a ton of weight.
Oh,
and he's been following that.
Might get a little more speed, even though he lost a little weight behind him. Might get a little quicker.
Yeah,
spending some more time losing some weight than he is playing some golf. I haven't seen him. Well, he played last week. He missed the cut last week.
Yeah.
He had a decent start to the year, I think, right? I think he was in the mix, top 15, top 20s, maybe the way early year, probably pre-Masters. And I think he's cooled off. I think West Coast was decent. West Coast swing back that time.
I'm sorry, I forgot my pick of the week. He's at $6,000. His name is John Daly. I don't care if he loses.
Okay.
I'm kidding. He's not my guy of the week, but we got to acknowledge John Daly.
Shout out to the YouTube.
Let's do a quick cheers to John. Guy has cancer, still out here trying to play. Hey, I hope if he makes the cut, I'm not saying he's got a chance, but I want to watch him on a Saturday,
he almost won on the Champions Tour 3 weeks ago. Games there, like I said, shout out to him. He's fucking battling the good fight here, but it seems like the golf game is trending, right? I mean, I don't know if they're getting hard this week and all that shit, so hopefully he gets that shit figured out. Trending.
How do we feel about I know you mentioned his name briefly there, Matt. Joaquin Neiman.
I think he's an under the radar guy that could all of a sudden be top 15, top 10 this week, and everybody's like, oh, obviously, but you didn't pick him going into the week.
Yeah.
Because he's 11 of 12 cuts, 12 of 13, somewhere in that range, right?
Yeah.
No, I love that pick.
His swing.
He hasn't missed a cut. 15-15.
Swing's crazy.
Average. It's crazy. Average DFS number 83.7 fantasy points per game, I guess they call it. He's blowing everybody else out below him, and actually quite a bit of the guys in front of him. I mean,
Yeah, I think
he's a good pick. I mean, the guy that's going to make.
You know what he does? He does pretty good in the wind too. He was a killer at that at the President's Cup in Australia, which is linksy, not windy out there, but like the weird kind of burned out, run out kind of golf course.
Yep.
And he played well at the Sony this year in Hawaii, where it's a lot of wind there. So at 8,300, and he's got to be a top 30 player.
Not 83, he's 78.
78. Oh shit. Oh, 83 was
better
or whatever. Yeah, I mean that's a good one, Paul. That's a
really good one.
What is his world golf ranking? Got to be
it's
top
tough to see him not make the cut this week.
He's up there.
Plays well on these tough golf courses too.
And he can hit the shit out of a low stinger. He hits that.
I love it.
Yeah, irons. He hits that low, ridiculous driver. Sometimes even it's wild.
Yeah.
His golf swing is kind of ridiculous. How underneath the ball he gets, but still hits it so low. It's a very wild golf swing if you really break it down. But
I was
really knows what he's doing. So
I was at the Detroit Country Club at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and I think he was in the same group as Rory Sabatini, or either way, they're both at the top of the leaderboard. And just watching him, he was dialed in. Saw him play a par 3, saw him drive a couple par 4s, and then finish up on 18 there. Ultimately, it's an easy course, but he since that moment, I really was paying attention to him. He balled out. He had a smooth swing and strikes it well.
Shout out Mikey and Eric over on Bogey Proof doing the podcast and all that stuff. We went to visit Mikey in Chicago 2 summers ago when the BMW was at Medina out there. Medina, and we walked into Joakim Neiman. He was in the last group out on Saturday. We went to watch. So barely made the cut, whatever, and they were picking the ropes up, and we were coming in off watching Tiger or JT or one of those guys where the crowd was massive. We were going back to the car, and we literally walked in front of him as he was hitting a wedge. He hit right over our heads because they took the ropes down. So we were just they took him down a hole too early. They were a little bit ahead of him, where he had to go back and take a drop or something. Where they'd already taken the ropes down, so we literally walked right in front of him. He hit a wedge up over our heads. We were oh. Sorry, man. It's
wow.
But ever since then, I've paid a little bit more attention just because I literally, once you see somebody in person, you kind of get that little more extra fandom out of it. And it was pretty. I want to say, about a year and a half now. He's been getting much closer, and he won at the Greenbrier and won somewhere else. I forget too. But he gets a little sketchy with the putter sometimes, which come majors, you can't really afford to do so. So we'll see how that cooperates with him. But from a ball striking perspective and just kind of overall trend in game and overall kind of the resume he puts together, 7,800 is an awesome price for him. I might have to go back and speak some line.
There are a lot of good guys with great prices. I mean, Fontaine, you said it earlier. Sam Burns is at 7,500. I think Corey Connors is at a really good price at 7,600.
The only thing with Sam Burns is, we're not going to be the only ones that see that he's playing well at 7,500. He's going to be such a high value.
He's going to be 70% value ownership.
Yeah.
At that
so
yeah.
you gotta,
you gotta zig when everybody zags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, and that's why I pick a guy like Brian Harman. I think, he could also be high owned too, but Brian Harman is playing some great golf.
Okay.
7,400. Love the guy. Brian. No prep tonight. Brian. But little Harman, that guy, competitive nature, just plays well, and he's kind of down in his area. He's a Southeast guy. So.
All right, so do you have, if you had to enter a big head-to-head, what lineup are you going? What 6 names? Just rattle them off quick.
Oh, well, give me a second.
Alrighty. Well, I'll go with mine.
Deposit this first. Yeah, you do it first because I'm going to pull up all. I have 5-6 lineups right now. So.
I'll go Simpson, Berger, Finau, Fleetwood, Rose, and Grillo.
God
damn, I love Berger this week. I think Berger is going to be in the mix, I think, comes today.
That's going to be my big-time lineup that I'll spread across the board in a few different spots. How about you?
So this is my
lineup,
lineup,
Fontaine?
Paul.
Do you okay, TJ? Go ahead.
I got you. I got Colin Morikawa, Patty Reed, Will Zalatoris, Corey Connors, Brian Harman, and one guy I forgot to mention, Harris English.
Okay.
Harris, big dog.
And let me tell you why about Harris English. I was looking at a couple stats here, and I specifically typed in guys that play well in the wind. And Harris English came up as one of the guys that plays well in the wind.
Look at that research. Just
well
Google
in the wind,
good golfers
going
in
on
wind.
my team. So Harris English is on my team for this week just because plays well in the wind, but also he's trending. He's played a little bit better. He won and then sucked at TPC Scottsdale and played god-awful golf then, but has done a little bit better. He actually did well this past week. He shot, maybe got his feet underneath him a little bit, but I think he was only 7,200 too, and as well he had played. I don't think he's going to be that bad. So if he can sneak in and be my lowest guy and find a way to make a cut, heck. But yeah, English, Harmon, Connors, Zalatoris, Reed, and Morikawa.
I like that. I got a couple crossovers with you there. I got Morikawa as well. I just think even though he's defending, he's won so many big events already as a young player that yes, he's defending. I just don't know that it matters that much. Like if it comes Sunday and they start talking, back to back and like put that pressure on him, yeah. But like for purposes of DFS, I think he's going to be in the top 20, so he's worth picking. I got Sam Burns at 7,500. I know he's going to be owned by everybody. The price just fit with the rest of my lineup, and I got Victor at 93, Robbie Mack at 7, Xander, who we talked about a bunch on here. I'd really be surprised if he's not in the mix. And I also had Mr. Schwartzel in there at 68, rounded it out. So I think I don't know. It'll be interesting. It'll be I mean, like we've said, quite a bit here. It's quite the golf course. Not something we're used to seeing at a PGA, especially in recent memory, and kind of brings the best of every different major and aspect or challenge element of golf that we love to see. I'm looking forward to a lot of coverage. Like we said, ESPN first tee to last ball gets holed. I don't know how to say that. Every single day.
Last hole. He's kind of said
it right. Last ball goes in the hole, whatever you want to call it. Last putt is made every day. And, I think we're going to try to do at least a few days a week. We're going to do a live watch of the last half hour of coverage or so, watch the last couple groups come in, and then transition that into a recap of each day. Obviously, we might try and go live and do it, but I think we're going to do it in this format where we, get the YouTube video for you guys that you can watch after and, catch yourself up on the day as, starting your Friday morning for work and throw this video on as you're watching the coverage to see what happened yesterday and what to expect come the weekend. And, try and do that at least 2 or 3 days this week as the coverage goes on, and definitely Sunday with kind of a live recap as best we can and get this stuff out to you guys on YouTube as soon as possible, just to, kind of get that viewing experience with us as we watch. I'm hoping come the weekend, it's fun to watch that last couple groups come in where Thursday, Friday, you're kind of subject to who's out there. But, the PGA Championship week, a lot of content coming from us, whether it's, obviously we just went through all these picks and all this gambling stuff going on, but going to get that Instagram going as well with some, swing tip videos and stuff like that. But anything else you guys got on Kiawah and, the PGA Championship this week or any other? I feel like we hit on a lot of different guys there and went through our lineups. And I mean, do we kind of wrap this up with some locks of the week outside of our DFS lineups to see what we got here for the people? Or you guys have anything else that we might have missed going through all this?
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we want to cycle through locks of the week. I'm good on my end. Paul, what do you think?
I'll go. I got Fleetwood to win 60-1, and I'm gonna go Sam Burns first round leader 40-1.
Love it.
Those are my two. I mean, I also got Berger, Finau, and Cantlay to be first round leaders too, but I really like the Sam Burns.
I got Patty Reed to win his group on Thursday, and I have Cam Smith top 5.
Love Cam Smith. I think
who's Patty Reed playing with? Didn't we talk about his group?
Rahm and Roy?
No, Rahm and Fleetwood.
Fleetwood.
Okay.
It's a Ryder Cup matchup, so.
Yep. Okay. I like I think I like Berger first round leader. I think he's playing with Stricker. He's playing with captain of the Ryder Cup, so he might might show out a little bit, try and make sure because I don't think he's in yet based on points. I think he's kind of on that bubble, so I think he's trying to. I mean, if he were to win, obviously he'd get in on points, but I think he's trying to at least make a good impression on the captain, regardless of his final finish of the week, playing with him on Thursday, Friday. And then I'm going to go Victor Hovland, top 5. Those are my 2 locks. I got a lot on Victor this week. I've been picking him all over the place. So I just think it's the weirder it gets and the more you just got to kind of hit your ball, the better it is for him. You get any more complicated than that, he might get some issues. But yeah. Awesome. All right. I mean, another successful episode, boys. We will hopefully have some good news to report back on come Monday night. Hopefully a couple of us get something right. And honestly, all I'm hoping for, I want 16, 17, and 18 to matter on Sunday. I want 3 guys, 4 guys where
I want to be sweating.
Yeah, I want to be like on the edge of my seat watching something. With I just need options come those last few holes where it's even if the wind's downwind instead of into, which might be a little weird. I just want to see that. I didn't need back 9 carnage, right? That's what we want in a major. We want back 9 battles. We just want the drama that comes with, back 9 of a major championship. And Hideki played so well at the Masters, we didn't get a ton of it until it was kind of already done. Like he made it more interesting than it should have been by making a bogey on the last couple there. But like, I don't know. I was only alive after Xander made birdie on 15 and he made bogey, and he was within 2 all of a sudden, and then it quickly went away after he put one in the water. So it's like, I need more on the edge of my seat shit out of this major than I got at the Masters. I need something. I need to get going. And I'm hoping, granted all the shit we talked about with the course, the wind, all this stuff, it's got to produce something with that finishing stretch and all the wind going on. So I'm looking forward to a good weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait. Just be ready. We got some elements this week, boys. Be ready. We got some wind. We got some awesome views. We got ESPN covering for almost 11 hours a day. Give the people what they want. Let the girls play on Thursday and Friday. Let the boys watch on Thursday and Friday. I think this is going to be an awesome treat. Great for golf. And I get to work from home. So
follow those socials.
I'm looking forward to it.
Follow those bogey-proof socials so you can see if we end up doing something live on one of the days or a couple of days, whatever it is, and tune in for that.
Absolutely. And hey, tell us if you guys win any bets, or you put a bet down, or you get a DFS guy that does well, screenshot it, send it to the group. We got a Dogfish swag bag along with some bogey-proof swag. Going out to the first person that sends over a DM saying, hey, we have won because of you guys. As soon as you do, that bag goes out. So please let us know. Instagram, YouTube, comments, throw it into us. Send us a chat if you even have our phone numbers. I don't know if you do or not. And also drink vodka sodas from Dogfish Canned Cocktails. They are absolutely delicious. So they're helping us out.
Dangerous.
Thank you.
Tread carefully, 8%. Cheers, boys. Have a good week.
Cheers.